Right. I mean, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for coming back to Anfield Index. I'm honestly, I can normally talk for Britain when it comes to Liverpool and football and just everything in general. And I think tonight there's so little that I can say that anyone will care about, because in terms of performance, in terms of the way we approach that game today, Liverpool have been beaten 4-1 at Anfield by PSV, an Eredivisie team, a side who should not be coming to Anfield with the thought process in their head of we can pick up 3 points, we can get a win. That was a team that came to Anfield and they looked so up for it. And there's so little I can say that just doesn't irritate me at the moment, because in terms of that performance, City's one thing, Forest is another. To be beaten in the Champions League at Anfield 4-1, our third loss in a row, the third game in a row where we've been beaten by 3 goals, is an embarrassment. And there is nothing that can be said to defend it. Take away the Szoboszlai goal, take away the fact that we were positive for a little bit at the end of the first half, take all that away, there is nothing positive about this performance that can be said. And Liverpool are being dragged through the mud. That is our 9th loss in 12 matches now. That is the first group stage match at Anfield we have lost in front of a crowd since 2014 under Brendan Rodgers. I can't remember the last time we got beat 3 games in a row, conceding 3 goals minimum. It's ridiculous that we are in this situation right now. And you've got fans at Anfield leaving early because they're so ashamed by what they're seeing, by what we are seeing. That should never be the case. I don't care what situation we're in. Don't care what manager it is. Don't care what season it is. Don't care what anything is. The fact that we've got to that point is ridiculous. And you've got Arsenal beating Bayern Munich at home in the Champions League. You've got Tottenham, who are facing the Champions League winners PSG last season. And yeah, they've been beaten, but at least they really gave a go of it. At least they made a good account of themselves. We looked embarrassing. We looked pathetic tonight. We looked so weak, so unwilling. If Dominik Szoboszlai wasn't in that team tonight, if Dominik Szoboszlai wasn't there to actually have a go and to be the only player who seemed to actually give one in the middle of the pitch, actually run for people, I don't want to imagine what the scoreline would have been in this match, because this is an Eredivisie team. We've not just been beaten by a Bayern or a Madrid or like a high caliber of European opposition. This isn't meant to disrespect the Eredivisie. There's been brilliant teams from there in the past. But that's ridiculous. There's so little I can say to even explain the fact that this is how I'm feeling. And I'm going to just sort of take a breath, go from the beginning, and we're going to dissect it all today. But welcome back to Anfield Index. It's Late Night Live. If you haven't already, make sure to click like and subscribe. It's been a few weeks since I've actually been back on. I've been busy, work, life in general. But yes, my schedule's lined up perfectly, and now I'm able to actually do one of these with you guys. And I always like to sort of go through the player ratings and go through the analysis and just discuss my overall thoughts on individual players. And we will do that a bit, but this one's going to be more of just a reactionary therapy session, so to speak, because the Champions League is our bread and butter. It doesn't matter what the form the league's in. It doesn't matter how things are going. There is always in the back of your mind, Liverpool can do great things in Europe, because we do. Notoriously, we do. We are the Champions League club in England. We're Liverpool. Us and Europe just goes together like bread and butter. It's the way it always has been. And this new league format means that we can lose a few matches. Galatasaray we viewed as it is what it is. There were worrying signs, of course. It was an awful performance, but you looked at it and thought, right, we can move past this. You can lose a few games in this new group stage system, league stage, whatever you want to call it. But there's a difference between a one-off defeat and just an embarrassing run of form that we're seeing at the moment, where players who are top quality, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Ryan Gravenberch, Alexis McAllister, Cody Gakpo, all these brilliant players who are some of the best of our Premier League lives. And just in Liverpool in general, you're talking about some of the like Mount Rushmore of players. They all look so lost and they all look so devoid of any sort of attack and impetus. They don't know. They look like they don't know what they want to do. Losing 3 games in a row is bad, but to concede 3 games every single match there is such worrying signs there, major worrying signs. And for this match tonight for Liverpool, who play the PSV team, who they're not pushovers. They're unbeaten in the last 15 away matches, I believe it is. That they are not a bad team, so to speak. But no team should be coming to Anfield. I don't care if it's Madrid, Bayern, Barca, City, anyone who comes to Anfield should not be going into this going, right, we're the favourites. And that's what PSV did out there today. They physically dominated us. They were aggressive. They were first to the ball every time. But we didn't help ourselves. There were numerous mistakes coming from Liverpool as a whole. And we were our own downfall at points. Some of the passing was so wayward. It wasn't until we actually got aggressive and tried to play through the middle and actually ran at their defence, those final 20, 25 minutes of the first half, it wasn't until that point where we actually looked like ourselves again, like we did against Frankfurt, like we have in spells this season. Few and far between, of course. But as soon as we score that goal, as soon as we get into half-time, 1-1, it's like they just said, right, back to what we've been doing worst all season, which is try and play the way that Slot wants us to play, hold up the ball, stretch the play, get it to the wingers. Nothing happens. Soon as teams go on, as soon as they transition into attack against us, we're open, we're vulnerable. And it's just, you can blame players, you can blame tactics all you want. Nothing is right at the moment. Nothing is going right. The only saving grace from that performance tonight was Dominik Szoboszlai, who does not deserve to be playing the way he is in this team. He has been a revelation at points this season. And that match tonight, we lost 4-1. If he was not there, we would have been absolutely thumped. He carried that team from midfield. He led the press. He was the first to win every ball when it came to the middle of the pitch. He's the only one who looked like he had any desire to actually make something happen, bar Ekitike at points and maybe Gakpo 1 or 2 times. But we just look lost. And there's so many comments coming into trying to like keep up with all of them, you know. Just, yeah, I'll try and read out some of them more that I can. It's his own fault. He's playing the same players as he think at the club now, so Salah needs dropping. Get Dyche, he'll sort out the defense at least. Hard to watch this. Yeah, so I did a video yesterday where I was like, there's 5 reasons to keep Slot and there's 5 reasons to get rid of Slot. And one of the things I said why he should go is just stubbornness. That team selection tonight, so I'll present the actual team now, and we can just sort of break that down and go through it all. Liverpool starting lineup right there on the bottom. Right, I understand from Slot's perspective, he is in a position right now where he wants to try and get the best out of these players because this is who he probably views as our first team. These are the players, you know, Van Dijk, Salah, Gravenberch, Gakpo, McAllister. Like, I completely understand. These are the players that he wants to get the best out of because this is his team that he predominantly picks for the league. And it doesn't make sense for him to completely shuffle everything. I don't think many of us expected a myriad of changes. I think some of us expected a couple. I thought Gomez would have come in the team. I thought that's what was getting built up in the last few days. I thought maybe in place of Konate, Mamadashvili, yeah, I expected Kerkez left back. Okay, sure. I thought Robbo might have got a few minutes. But he's went with his full strength team. And I think that the thought process of this was, right, let's just try and get back on form. Let's just get these lads playing. Let's get them into a rhythm. It just served the complete opposite purpose. And to be honest, there were a few things I enjoyed. I give him credit for the fact that he learned from the mistake against Forest, which was Szoboszlai at right back, Stick and Jones in the middle. I'm so happy that he's actually learned from that and switched them around because Jones at right back in that first half, I thought was good. I thought Curtis Jones was good. He kept his position well. He only came forward when he felt the need to, which, to be honest, he didn't do it that often in the first half. He was good in the tackle. His passing range was brilliant. When he did invert, we looked solid in midfield, especially when we were pressing PSV's back line towards the end of the first half. And then second half, he's just bombing forward. He's venturing too far forward. He's leaving gaps in behind, which PSV exploited for their goal. And it just fell apart, and there's such worrying signs. And you can talk about tactics all you want, and you can talk about the way the managers built up the game and approached it. But when players stop putting in effort, when players stop making any sort of attempt to win the ball or press or win a tackle or actually get to the man, that is a major cause for concern. I don't care about tactics. I don't care about, who plays where. The least I expect from players, our players in particular, is to press and to try and win the ball. And Dominik Szoboszlai did that today perfectly. But for that PSV goal, the second goal, which pretty much sealed the loss because by that point our heads dipped and we just gave up completely, no one made any attempt to even prevent that ball from going in. Every single player dropped and just let it happen. It's just a disgrace, the fact that no matter what we do in terms of how we're set up, how we play, I never expect Liverpool at Anfield in particular, be it the Champions League, the Premier League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup, to not put effort in. That is the number one priority. And any team, any manager, the big thing is always, if you don't give me 100%, you're out this team. And the major concern is that so many players are not putting 100% in at the moment. Dominik Szoboszlai is one of the few examples of a player tonight who can come out of that, probably the only example who can come out of that match with his head held high, because he at least put in the effort. Jones did at points as well, fair enough. And that Canate rating, by the way, that 5.9 does not do justice to how much I want him gone from this team. There is no reason for him to continue to get picked. I will take Endo at centre-back. I will take a not fit Joe Gomez at centre-back. If we want to bring back Torben Piecznik and stick him there, I don't care anymore. Just stick someone at centre-back. It needs changing drastically. And there were people, they were talking on the commentary about how Slot doesn't have options, you know, he doesn't have a lot of options, but then they would continue to say, well, he spent all this money, he's brought in this amount of players. Which one is it? Does he have options or does he not? He's stubborn. He's just stubborn, and it's causing his own downfall. Salah is not in form. When Chiesa came off the bench, he put in more effort in that 15 minutes than Salah did for the majority, if not all, of that match. He had little flashes, Salah, in the first half where he was trying to find space in behind. But he keeps picking these players who are on poor form. After that Nottingham Forest game, Canate should be dropped. Absolutely, completely dropped. There was no reason for him to continue to get picked. Just stick someone else there. I don't care if you need to put Endo there. I don't care if Joe Gomez is going to just come back. He should not be in that team. And if he gets picked this weekend, like ahead of those players after that, done. Completely done with it. Like I said, this is all just, it's a reactionary, it's like a therapy session. I am trying to get through the comments. Don't worry. It's just been, there's a lot coming in. They started off dead slow, side to side, no forward motion. First attack was 15 minutes, we scored, then sat back again. This is exactly the problem. This is one of the major problems. The moment we actually started attacking them, the moment Gakpo started running at his defender, as soon as Ekitike started trying to play through the channels in the middle, as soon as Szoboszlai started following up on the loose balls, we scored, and we looked like a genuine attacking side that we'd not seen since maybe Frankfurt. Like, we actually looked positive going forward, and when we did, we looked good. And the moment we got that goal, the moment we got the first goal, should have been the moment to keep the pressure on, and we did for a little bit. And then as soon as the second half comes out, we tried it for 2 minutes, didn't work, and then we just immediately concede. And from that moment, we just go, right, done. That's it. Give up. Heads down. You know, everyone just do what you want. It's going the way it is. He does not have a grip of this team currently, Slot. And I can't recall a time where a manager has lost us this. Hodgson, of course, you know, that was just a mishmash. But Slot has been backed so heavily this summer, and he's been brought in these brilliant players, and players who we thought would complement the system. And he just doesn't look, he looks lost. And he's on the touchline as soon as the second goal goes in, and you can see the worry in his face. As soon as they scored that goal in the first half that was deemed offside, you could see he looked scared. He looked worried. He knows the pressure that's on him, and rightfully so, because you can't be a Liverpool manager. You can't be a Liverpool manager and concede 4 goals at home in the Champions League, following on from a 3-0 loss at home to Nottingham Forest, after going away to Man City, a Man City team who, by the way, have just been beaten yesterday and struggled in the weekend, and get thumped 3-0 and look the way in which we did. It's not so much the scoreline that's disappointing. It's the way we're playing. We just look like we're ready to roll over and let whatever happens happen, and we can't be doing that. We can't be that side. We cannot be that team who are just willing to roll over and say, right, do what you want. Just don't make it too bad. It's humiliating. It's an embarrassment for us to be in that position. Alex McAllister, look, we are seeing a very different Alexis McAllister from last season. He had little glimpses of when he was playing, finding those pockets of space, and he was actually trying to find the ball in behind. He was good at receiving them, actually, on the half-turn. I thought he was good, but some of his passing was awful. Gave it away far too much. Gravenberch, the same, really, but his performance was a lot more inoffensive. He just did the basics, but still, defensively, he is not a player capable of protecting a back line. He's really, really not, and it goes back to this debate of, do you need a solid number 6, a CDM who's going to protect the back line, or do you want a ball-playing midfielder who just comes deep, receives it, and it's good on the half-turn? It worked last season because no one was used to Gravenberch doing that. We were able to catch sides off guard. Now, the way which we play, the way we press going forward, the way we stretch our play and leave so much exposed space in front of the centre-backs, you need someone like a Fabinho, just for an example, who's going to sit there and just completely protect them, block the ball. Van Dijk is not the same Van Dijk of 3-4 years ago when he was at his peak, when we won the league, Champions League, when he was at his absolute best, or even just last season. He's not that caliber of player anymore. He is getting older. He's going to need more protection. Gravenberch does not offer that level of protection. And for Van Dijk, who's next to a Kerkez, who's very inexperienced in his Liverpool team and is still overcommitting going forward and in some of the tackles, leaving so much space, alongside a Konate, who is not a good caliber of player currently, of course he's getting exposed. Of course he's getting found out individually because there's no support with him. Gravenberch is not the style of number 6 who's going to protect the back line. He can drop into it, but that's only when you take Konate off, which we did. And it showed that he is not capable of playing in that position in a long-term solution. Szoboszlai, haven't got enough positive words to say about him. Cody Gakpo, look, I think when he started to go forward, actually started to be aggressive, push that PSV backline, he was causing issues. He was actually overlapping. He was making overlapping runs. And when he came inside, his first instinct wasn't just cross the ball or, who can I pass it to? He was actually looking to take people on. He was trying to cut inside and make things happen for those around him. Should have scored the header. Fine. Say of that what we will, but it is what it is. Salah, forgot he was over on the pitch at points. And Ekitike I thought was decent. His ball control is great. Couple moments where I'm thinking, could you shoot? Could you not? There was one particular moment, him and Gakpo got in each other's way. And then there was another one where I think it's Gakpo actually. He's coming inside, could have shot, didn't, went back outside. And it's just moments like that. But yeah, to be honest, trying to break everything down, we were weak mentally, physically. We just got ran ragged out there. And we're relying on Dominik Szoboszlai to do the bulk of the pressing, to lead the team in the press, to be the midfielder who will win the ball back in that sort of Jordan Henderson-style role. But you can't do that when no one else is supporting you and no one else is providing you with the same support that he's giving out to all them. McAllister and Gravenberch, brilliant players on the day, but the issue is they're not putting in the effort that Szoboszlai is. He was the only player today, bar Salah for a little stint maybe, who's actually pressing and trying to make things happen and be positive in his approach. Everyone else looks so willing to just step back, stand off, and let them have the ball. And that's not the way we want to play. Or at least I don't think it is. I don't know what our style of play is anymore. Only 2 managers in our history before Slot have won the league with Liverpool in their first season. That's Joe Fagan and Kenny Dalglish. And the following seasons, they both finished second. Neither of them retained. Slot has got such an impossible task, so to speak, in terms of he set the standard way too high in that first season, winning the league, doing what he did in the league. But when you look at it and you do really sort of break it down, hindsight's 2020, of course, were we fortunate last season? Everyone was touching on, the point total. And a lot of people will say, well, we gave up towards the end because we'd already won the league. But there were still poor performances, and I think we were carried at big points by Salah, for example. Newcastle away being just a big example where we scraped it in the 3-3 draw, and then ultimately we lost it because of Kelleher's mistake. And there were a bunch of matches where we just looked like we were just skating on by, fortunate goals. Salah carried us. We got fortunate with injuries. We've had 13 injuries at this point this season compared to 6 last season. One of them this season's been a season ender for Leone, who I think at this moment in time probably would have got a few more games over Konate at this point. And Arsenal picked up the injuries they did. Too many draws. City dropped off because of Rodri. Were we fortunate? Possibly, but we were able to capitalize on it. Right now, we are not capitalizing on anything. We look like the team that teams are looking at and thinking, right, we can capitalize on Liverpool. They are weak. They are there to be had mentally. They are there to be taken physically. They've got no plan. There's no structure. You've got a back line that want to sit deep. And then when they do push high, there's no one with recovery pace. You've got wingers who are so far out wide, they can't make anything happen in the middle. The only player who's actually trying to make things happen in the center of the pitch is Szoboszlai, who can't be everywhere at once. And Slot, who decisions after decisions, game after game, there's decision-making that just is baffling. And I'm a very positive fan. I will always try and be positive, but there's no way I can defend him when you're still picking Salah game in, game out and keeping him on for the full 90 minutes when he's being ineffectual, when you've got Konate making mistake game after game after game, City, then Forest, and then you start him again today and he makes another mistake which costs us a goal. And no doubt he will start on the weekend against West Ham. It will happen. Of course it will happen because Slot is stubborn in that approach. You've got Chiesa, who has showed faith this season by staying with us. He could have left for his own international career. He could have went wherever he wanted. Even after the transfer window shut and he was rotting on the bench, he had the chance to go. I think it was Besiktas. He said no, said he wanted to stay. What's his reward? A few cup games, and he's getting the last 10, 15 minutes in matches when he's the only one coming on the pitch and actually putting in an effort and trying to show a bit of aggression and passion and someone who actually wants to take the game by the scruff of the neck to match the level that Dominik Szoboszlai is putting out. No one else is doing that. You've got Konate in a back line. When you've got, I'd take Joe Gomez, I'd take Endo. I've said that before. Stop being stubborn and picking the players who were great last season but are absolutely dreadful this season and are costing us points. It's stupidity. And we're playing West Ham, so that I'm not convinced we get anything from it. And then we've got Sunderland, who are in great form, not convinced. Leeds, not convinced. There is no match I'm looking at this season and convinced that we can make something happen. And at no point should Liverpool fans feel that way, because we're entitled, because we're football fans. We're entitled. We believe that we are the greatest club in England, in Europe, in the world. That's just the way that we are. And I don't want to feel like every single match I'm going into it thinking, what are we going to get from this? We should not win we've just won the Premier League. We have just won the league title. We have signed some of the greatest players, or some of the most expensive players. We've gone out and signed Florian Wirtz, injured. I know he wasn't there today, but you've got Isak come in. And honest to God, Isak at the moment, I have never been as unenthusiastic about a big signing for us. Like, I sound like a spoiled brat. So it's like Gomez isn't fit. He's not fit, but Konate is not fit to start in this team. Yes, he still is every match because he's making mistakes every game. So what I mean is I want something different. I just want him to look at this team and say, right, this isn't working. Let's just mix it up. Let's just try something different. It's like the moment the players go into business for themselves and actually play the attacking football that we expect from Liverpool, results happen. And it's like as soon as we score the goal or as soon as we make something come of it, they revert back to what Slot wants and we concede, and then heads drop, and that's it. We've just lost to PSV. We've lost to Nottingham Forest. We've lost to Crystal Palace. We've lost to a City team who is not the same City of a few years ago. It's Haaland FC. We've lost to Man United, who were going through one of their worst ever spells in their history under Amorim. And we looked every bit as weak as we thought those teams were. It's a Champions League match at Anfield, and you've got fans leaving early. You've got the PSV fans waving goodbye to us, because it's humiliating. Brentford's another one. I didn't even think about Brentford. Brentford is another one. We struggled to score against Burnley and took until the last minute. And we can't use the excuse of it's long balls, it's the deep lines, it's because teams play this certain style. No matter what style we're playing, if no matter what team it is, we're just getting pumped. You concede 3 goals for 2 matches in a row and then 4. That's not champions of England quality. That's not top 4 quality. That's relegation quality. That's what I'd expect from Norwich of a few years ago. That's what I'd expect of Sheffield United of a few years ago. That is not us. Even under Roy Hodgson, and I'm not saying Slot's as bad as Hodgson before anyone starts jumping on that, but there was never a point where every match we were getting 3 goals, 3 goals, 3 goals. We were awful, we were poor, but we sort of accepted it because of what was going on around us. We wanted them gone and we wanted change drastically, but the squad was just awful. You had a Torres who didn't want to be there. Gerrard was probably the only real saving grace. You had a back line with some awful players in. So what you expected those results to be coming. You didn't like them, but you still thought this happened. Look at the players we've got in this team, and Slot can't get a beat out of any of them. He can't get them playing in any sort of positive way. And it's ridiculous. Klopp could take Henderson and made him look £1 billion. He made James Milner into an incredible player. Divock Origi was such a clutch last-minute player. Joel Matip, phenomenal. So many players you'd look at and think, decent, good. You're not going to get a lot out of them. And Klopp made them into phenomenal talent. Slot is taking Van Dijk, Salah, Gakpo, and he did brilliant things with them all last season. McAllister, Gravenberch, all of them. He won us the league and we played blisteringly brilliant football at points. And now they look lost. It's like Slot doesn't know what he wants them to do. They don't know what Slot wants. They don't know whether to press and be an aggressive team because it leaves so much space at the back. They don't know whether to sit back because then we just get pumped every match and we can't keep clean sheets. It's baffling. It honestly, it's baffling. I'm going to try and sort of go through some of the comments. There's been so many. Make sure you do click like and subscribe, guys. After Mike Canate and Salah, the problem is like hiding behind the T, playing hide and seek, just childish. A tree. Yeah, tree. No, I'm not saying that they're the problem. I'm not saying for a moment that Canate and Salah are the reason we're doing poor, but I'm pointing them out as 2 examples of players that Slot is continuing to pick over and over and over again, even though you have options there, and you're just expecting them to magically click one day and get a result. Salah is dreadful at the moment. Put Chiesa in. What are you worried is going to happen? We're going to lose 4-5-0. Well, we're already doing that. So why are you not picking him? Just give a different option. Just try something different. If you're scared about playing these players because you think we're going to get beat, we're already getting beat. So why not just go for it? Why not just give it the opportunity? If you're worried, oh, well, we don't really have much depth at centre-back. We should have signed Gahey. We didn't, so find a way to adapt. You are the manager of the club. You can't just go, well, we haven't really got a lot of options, so we'll keep playing Canate. Right now, Canate is awful. Just stick someone there, anything. I don't care what it is. Salah guaranteed a start regardless of being poor. He is, but that shouldn't be the case. When you go back to last season, and I know this is very different levels of player, but when Quansah got took off against Ipswich, in our minds, or in my mind, I thought, great. He's not afraid to take risks. He's not afraid to gamble on these players. If someone's playing poor, you rotate them, take them out. Fine. Great. Like he's willing to take those chances. Where has that gone? Where's that philosophy gone? I understand we don't have the centre-back depth. And maybe if Leone was fit, he'd do it. Maybe Joe Gomez was fully fit, he'd do it. Just try Endo. If Gomez was being tipped to start tonight, give him the go. If you want him to get back to fitness, you've got to play. You've got to try it. You have 11,000 attackers and Canate doesn't give a top score. Yeah, he was smiling when he went off, so bye. Out he goes. Not really too bothered. This is what I fear for Virgil. We'll run him into the ground the way he's had to carry the back line. Szoboszlai as well. Yeah, he's the issue is no one is ever going to be to the level of Van Dijk because he's had to prop him up, be it Gomez, Matip, Canate, whoever it is that's been next to him. But at least, yeah, I think he has been, to be honest. But even then, I don't think he had an awful match at points, but the complacency and the foul, right? We'll touch on that handball. I don't know what the thought process was. If he thinks it's because he's getting fouled, your arm doesn't. If his arm didn't shoot up, if it had been up the entire time, great. You can go, okay, it's because he's being knocked. But the way it shoots up, he goes to grab the ball because he thinks that the referee is going to give the foul. It's stupidity, plain and simple. It's dreadful. Gerard just said he'd keep picking Salah, so that rules him out. Thank God. Yeah, Gerard isn't getting the job. Let's just be real about that. The reports today apparently were Ange, and I think if it's Ange, I think I'll give up. Honestly, I couldn't put myself through an Ange poster. If we think the defending's bad now, oh my word. Ange at Liverpool would be a nightmare because he needs centre-backs who are quick on recovery pace, and Konate's got that, but proven today it's not his strong suit at the minute, so not a chance. Reece Williams still available if Gomez isn't fit. Ramsey has to start against West Ham. I'm amazed at Calvin Ramsey. I think he had a knock after the... what match was it that he played in? He did good. Crystal Palace. I think he had a knock after that match, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. I'm not sure if he's 100% fit or not. Has Konate's head been turned? I think it probably has a little bit. We saw it with Trent. He said himself in that Man United game, he was not done, but his head wasn't with it. And maybe Konate's in the same thing, but just if his head's not with it and he's putting in performances like this, like what is the rationale behind it? When Trent started playing poorly, at least Slot was able to rotate with Bradley and try something different, but he keeps picking Konate, and I don't understand the rationale. If it's because of depth, fine, fair enough. But he said himself at the start of the season, you know, you've got Gravenberch can play there, you've got Robertson who can play there, Endo can play there. If the situation is this bad where Konate, who I thought he had a decent game for a little patch of time, he looked good in winning the tackle and he was good in the air, fine, but the moment he makes a mistake, he hooks him off. Don't put him in the position to be able to make the mistake. Don't pick him and put him in the team. And I'm not trying to make this whole thing just a slam on Konate. It's on everyone. It's on Slot in particular, because he keeps repeating the same problems in the hope that maybe it'll be fixed. He moans about the long balls against Brentford. Then when we play Villa and Madrid, who don't play long balls, he's like, right, problem solved, done and dusted. We don't have to worry about that. We then lose to Forest, who play the same style. And then we play PSV, who don't play that long ball style and just completely bully us. And he still continues to pick the same players over and over again who aren't doing anything. And it's just... It's driving me mad, and that's the problem. And I don't want to just be a completely negative looking at this through the prism of Slot needs to go, Slot needs to be... I don't want to be doing that, but I think I'm at the stage now where I just can't find a reason to defend him after that performance, after that match against PSV, where we've just been run ragged, conceded 4 goals. You can excuse a 1-0 to Forest in your 4th match. You can excuse losing matches after we've already won the league. You can excuse a couple of defeats that we've had this season earlier on because fitness or coming to terms with the new players or what have you. But the warning signs have been there since the end of last season, even before we'd sealed the league definitively. Fulham was a big example of it. Some of the matches afterward, like Brighton, Chelsea, big matches where we really, really struggled. Leicester was another one. So the warning signs have been there for a while. Now, the cracks are just extending. We've lost Diaz. We've lost that option that we can bring on. Salah has always been absolutely horrendous. He's never had a good game in his life. He scams goals and assists every game, and now he can't even do that, so people are actually seeing how bad he is. I'm not entertaining the narrative that Salah's been bad for his whole... No, that's not... Look, I understand. I get it that last season there were matches where he didn't do a lot, but he would still score or assist, but isn't that what everyone's praising Haaland for at the moment? And I respect your opinion, but we're not going into the whole Salah's been absolutely horrendous and he's never had a good game. That's just not true. You don't deserve the manager unless there's a clear upgrade available. Yeah, so this was a point I made on my channel where I said that the main reason I think Slot has been kept at Liverpool at the moment is because who'd you bring in? FSG and the ownerships and everyone, they're not going to just bring in a quick time fix like we did with Kenny when Roy was in charge, where it was just, we need someone to come in and bring in positivity. We're not going to do a Frank Lampard at Chelsea from a few seasons ago, or a Gus Hiddink, or an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who turns into a long-term thing. If the club are going to sack Slot, The more likely scenario is they're going to appoint Van Bronckhorst or whoever as the sort of interim manager until the summer, where they can look at it and think, right, who's our long-term solution? They are long-term owners in terms of who they back. We thought Brendan Rodgers was going to be that. He wasn't. Klopp was that for 9 years. They've brought in Slot with the idea that he's going to be a long-term success, and he's overachieved in the first season, and he's come back down to earth. The club are not just going to sack him for a quick fix of someone who they can just stick in the club and say, right, you'll do. They do it based on data. They've got a very data-driven approach. Everything they do is ran by data, dogs. And they aren't just going to appoint anyone willy-nilly. They're going to bring someone in who they can build around, and someone who they know has a structure and a long-time plan, and the players can develop with him, like we saw on the Klopp and like we thought we were going to see on the Slot. So there's no chance that they're just going to sack him for whoever they can bring in, like a Jose Mourinho sort of fix, that kind of adrenaline pump where a year or two down the line, you're going to be looking for someone over and over again. They're going to go for someone who suits the way that the club want to operate. Who that is, I don't know. And there's a lot of people saying, we could bring Klopp back. Klopp isn't going to come back yet. Klopp is not going to come back now. He said in that same interview, the one that everyone seems to have taken out of context where he was saying, I can see myself back at Liverpool. They've took that as, right, Sloss is the reason Klopp is not with us now. Get rid of him so Klopp can come in. He then says in the same interview that he's no desire to come back now, and he doesn't want to be in the dressing room. He doesn't miss it. He doesn't miss the cold. He doesn't miss the rain. He's enjoying his life now the way he's doing it. So people who are saying get rid of Slot and just bring Klopp back, it doesn't work that way. It goes by, does Klopp want to come back? The answer is no, he doesn't want to come back at the moment. People are saying Xabi Alonso. If Xabi Alonso gets sacked by Madrid, then there's a real option there. But is he going to just immediately jump into Liverpool? I mean, possibly. It could happen. I don't know. Klopp has a job. Why would he come back? He does, and it gives him a life. And that's the main reason. He left us because he was exhausted. He's not going to take a year off doing other work and then immediately saying, right, I'll go back to Liverpool in a worse position than I left them in. He's not going to do that. That is just not going to happen. The only long-term manager out there that we could realistically go for at the moment, if he was sacked, was Xabi Alonso. I know there's other ones. I just can't remember the list off the top of my head. But there was a short list before Slot was appointed. It got revealed a few weeks ago. I know De Zerbi was on it and a few others. They're not going to just bring in a quick fix. And I don't want us to go back to that sort of era of time when it was Brendan, where we were appointing managers from the lower down part of the division, the league or whatever, where we're thinking, right, they could be something good. We're not that club. We have just won the league and we've done all this amazing stuff and we've brought in the players we have and won the things we have over the past decade. And we can't be looking to just bring in who we think is going to be the next big thing. We need to appoint elite managers. And Slot was a very much unknown manager, did amazing things with the team he inherited. As soon as he's had his say and change on who goes and who comes in, it's gone to hell in the way it has this season. And we need someone who can harness it. We need someone who can come in and imprint their vision that suits the way these players want to play. Would Alonso be that? I don't know. I really don't know. Fans should boycott games. FSG will only wake up if their pockets get hit. Well, I mean, the pockets just took a hit this summer. It's not the players. It's not anything like that. I don't want to see fans boycotting games because no, it just sends the wrong message. It sends off the message of we will. If you're supporting Liverpool because we're doing, if you're not supporting us because we're doing bad, and you're saying right, let's boycott games, then it just sends off the wrong message of I will only support this club and come to matches when I'm getting what I want and when results are going our way. I think it sends the wrong message personally. It's not, not for me personally. Get Glasner or Iraola. I don't want either. The great managers, don't get me wrong. Oliver Glasner's not. He's a fantastic manager, of course, but is he the one to do it? I don't know. I'd have to really look into it. Iraola, look, he was getting linked to Madrid not long ago, so possibly, but I don't know. It's a weird position. I haven't felt this way. Like, even when Rodgers was getting sacked, you knew Klopp was probably going to be the one to come in, and we were being linked to De Boer, we were being linked to Ancelotti. He was on the short list. I I can't remember the last time we were in this situation was probably when Kenny was getting sacked, and it was who comes in. It's a strange sensation, because if this isn't carefully orchestrated and planned, things can get so much worse before they get better. And we can't be in that situation with the players we've got and the money we've spent and how well we've done. If we just start undoing all that work, it's going to be a real concern. But the parallels to this season, to Brendan Rodgers 14-15, is concerning, of a manager who pushes for the league, actually wins it off of the back of a couple individuals who were phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, the whole team was brilliant, but Salah at points carried that team. Van Dijk, same with him. McAllister, same with him. Gravenberch, a lot of brilliant players. Won the league in a similar way to how Brendan almost done it. You lose some of your big names. You lose your Diaz, your Quansagos, who's your depth, all that. Spend a lot of money to rejuvenate the squad, and then there's a major downturn once he sort of imprinted his idea on it. And for Liverpool now, the situation could get worse and worse and worse. And after that result, it just feels like change needs to happen sooner rather than later. But are the club going to do it? I don't know, because they want to justify the money they've spent. They'll have said to Slot, look, we'll give you this money, but you've got to make it work. And I don't think the club, it sends off such a poor sign to spend the money they do and then sack the manager. I think he'll still get time, but I think they're waiting for the right person to become available. And I do think at the minute it could be Xabi Alonso, because I'm not sure what the Madrid game ended. I saw it was 3-2 against Lyon, because I know Mbappe got a hat-trick and I think it was 3-2. I don't know. I like Glasner because he played 4-4-2 at Frankfurt and can play two strikers. Potentially Wirtz can play to our strengths in counter instead of this wannabe possession-based football. Potentially, we just need to be more aggressive. There are certain players that we've signed. I think Florian Wirtz under Klopp would have been incredible. Same with Frimpong. I think Kerkez. We've signed the wrong profile of player for the manager that we've got, where we've signed very direct, attack-minded players for a manager who wants to control things and keep possession. That's why players like Grealish didn't thrive under Pep. That's why Doku's only just started doing it. That's why all these sort of, that style, that caliber of player under Pep doesn't necessarily work out. He wants system-based operators. And I think Slot wants a similar kind of thing, but we've signed players who are so wanting to just attack and get at defenses and actually make things happen, that Slot doesn't want it, and it doesn't gel, because the moment they start doing it, we score, and then as soon as we revert back to what Slot wants, we concede again and again and again and again, and we get stuck in that cycle. We'll just do a couple more, guys, and then we'll shoot. As I said, it's meant to be post-match analysis, but it's just difficult to sort of break down everything that's sort of gone on in that match. Exactly, 2 world-class strikers at the club, and we can't even score now. I mean, Ekitike's injured as well. We don't know the extent of that just yet, but yeah, he went off injured, which is a big worry. I know, but this is the situation. This is the thing. We've signed Isak and we've signed Ekitike because we thought, great, we've got depth, and I'm just not confident in either of them making anything happen. At least Ekitike has glimpses, but Isak, what I was touched on before, he's the least. I've been so uninfused by a player who cost us the money he has and has the talent that he possesses. Like, even when we signed Nunez, I was excited to see what he could do, but I was like that for months and weeks. I was so excited every time I played, because I was like, he'll make something happen. He'll make something happen. I'm watching Isak come on, and I'm just like, great, good. And that's such a stupid mindset to have, and I accept that. But I'm just not infused by the signing at the moment. And it's probably because he's been poor. It's probably because he's had his minutes managed. But it's just someone I'm looking at when he's coming on, and I'm just thinking, you're not going to get the ball passed to you. You're not going to do anything to impact play. The amount of times he was drifting out wide and coming deep just to even get a touch of the ball, like, it's embarrassing that we've spent all that money on him at the hindrance of depth at centre-back, depth in midfield, different players who fit the way Slot wants to play. And instead, we've pursued Isak at the cost of potentially Gahey, who we could have signed weeks before. It's a mess. The fact he won't utilise Chiesa and Rio is a worry. Rio and Gamoa needs the minutes. Honestly, you have someone there who puts defenders on their arse, scores wonderful goals for the England under-19s, was a nightmare against Newcastle, brilliant in pre-season, and he can't even get minutes in this match. But yet Salah plays the full 90 when he's ineffectual. Gakpo, glimpses, but take him off. Just put something different on. You're getting beat 3-1, which eventually led to 4-1, but just try something different. You don't have to stick to your stubborn, rigid approach. Just take a risk. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. The worst that happens is we're going to get beat. We're already getting beat. Just try it. Stop being so rigid in your approach to picking teams and players, and try something different that could actually have a major impact and effect on the match. Rio and Gamo is a kid, fine, but at least he will try things that no one else will. At least he will try to beat players, or at least he will have a go of trying to cut in between two of them and try to make a positive approach to their goal. To keep picking them over and over and over again when it's not working, and to substitute Konate for Chiesa. Fine, Konate needed to go off, but take off the other attackers who aren't doing anything and try something else. Probably last comment before we shoot. It's Slot's job to integrate Isak in his team, but he's bottling that too. There was no need to play him versus Forest. Slot clearly doesn't have a clue how to manage this set of players. I agree in certain aspects, and I think that there's certain individuals in this team right now who Slot's viewing through the prism of he doesn't really suit what I want to do. There's certain players he's looking at. I don't think Isak suits the style that he wants. I don't think Chiesa suits the style he wants, even though all we really want is someone to have a bit of desire and try to win the match. And that's something Chiesa does, who looks like he's going to bust a lung every time he actually gets on the pitch. That's why I loved Elliot so much, because Elliot, at least, what he lacked potentially in his overall skill set, he made up for in desire and actually wanting to win the ball back. And I just want some of that right now. I want that tenacity. I want the passion in it of someone who's like a Szoboszlai today. The decision making is awful, and it's got to improve. Or I think Slot at the moment, he's becoming his own worst enemy. Are we going to sack him before January? Are we even going to sack Slot? I don't know. I don't want to be in that situation where I'm saying get rid. Because while sacking him might be good in the short term for our sort of sanity, and you might think, right, get rid, that'll fix the problem. Look at what United have done for years and years. Their hierarchy has been the major issue. It's been poison behind the scenes. It's not like that for us. So maybe a new manager could change that. But you need to bring in the right manager for the players that we've got and the players who are the system that he wants to play. Otherwise, it's just going to be rinse and repeat. Doesn't work that way. I would have started Rio on the left, Chiesa on the right with Ekitike in the middle. It could have worked. It probably would have worked. It would have been a better approach. Gakpo was influential in that first goal. Should have scored the late header, absolutely. Salah had little glimpses. His crosses were good. When he started doing the give and go and actually started running in behind, he looked a bit more positive. Could have scored potentially. Didn't happen. If that's the case, Slot didn't have much say on who we signed in the summer. I don't think he did. I think he had some say. I think there was a few players he looked at and thought, right, he will suit my style. He will be good. I think Wirtz was probably a Slot signing, maybe. But things like Isak, I think Jeremy Frimpong, Kerkez potentially, I don't know. But yeah. Should we sack Richard Hughes as well? The signings of summer have been woeful. No, because these signings that we brought in were brilliant players. Kerkez for Bournemouth last season, best left back in the league. Jeremy Frimpong, one of the best wing backs in Europe over the past few seasons. Isak, phenomenal campaign. Ekitike, same for him. Wirtz, MVP of the Bundesliga 2 seasons in a row. They've been great players. They're just being utilised poorly and in the wrong system, in the wrong positions by potentially the wrong man. So no, I think Richard Hughes has done a great job of sourcing out this talent. It's just not being used properly. Doesn't matter if you sign the nicest phone, if you buy the best iPhone, if you give it to a monkey, it's not going to use it properly. You've got to find the right person to get the best out of these players, and I don't know if Slot's that at the moment. But last one, no matter how bad we were earlier, we didn't get annihilated like this by teams. Under Hodgson, Rodgers, Souness, we would lose matches by big margins at points, absolutely. But not for 3 matches in a row in this capacity. Like it's woeful. I think the worst spell under Klopp, we had 3 matches in 4 where we conceded 3 and we drew 0-0 with Chelsea, and that was 2023, I think, because Wolves was the last one, I think, and we really struggled for a spell there. I think that was Brentford and Brighton as well, might have been the others. So there's been patches under other managers, but not to this extent. But what do you think of it in the comments? Click like and subscribe if you haven't already. please subscribe to Anfield Index. It really, really does help out. They put out brilliant content all the time. Apologies if this turned into a bit of a rant, therapy session, whatever you want to call it. But Liverpool 1, PSV 4, Champions League. Slot in, slot out. Let us know in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.